Okay, hey again everybody. Today's tutorial is going to be about vectors. That's what we're going to talk about today. What a vector is, you could think of a vector as a rubber band of memory. It's pretty much elastic. Um, a vector pretty much you could add data and delete data all at the same time and it'll expand or contract as you manipulate it. So we're going to start writing a vector code now. And first thing you need to remember is the basic stuff. IOStream using namespace std and your int main function for C++. So right now, since we're going to start a vector, we're going to pound include a vector. Alright. Now, there's many different types of vectors you can have. You can have either a vector, this is the syntax right here. You could have a vector of int, you could have a vector of strings, or a vector of double, chars, whatever, okay? We're gonna use strings today. So we're gonna do string, and now we have a vector of a string, but now we have to name our vector. It's sort of like when you do int num equals 0, for example. That's, when you declare your variables as a type of int. So we're going to declare a variable of a type of vector of a string. So let's delete this. And we're going to name it, let's say students names. Alright, and that's the name of our vector. And quickly before we go any further, since we're using a string, we also have to pound include up here that we are going to use a string. So now we have IOStream vector and a string all included. Now what we're going to do is we're going to enter 3 students' names, and we're going to do for let's do x equals 0, and now let's declare x also. X equals 0. Okay. X is less than 3, x plus plus. Now we're going to ask the user, cout, enter student name. Okay. And we're going to do cin, and now we need to declare a string variable for the name, the variable that's going to hold the student's name, and we'll just call it name, string name. Okay, so we're gonna do name. Alright, and what's going to happen here is that every time I enter a student's name, that variable name is going to be stored into the vector students' names. Now we have enter student name, and now what we want to do is close our for loop, and we're going to do one more thing. Since a vector is pretty much like a rubber band, we need to stretch that memory, and the way we do that is by pushing every name that we enter into the vector. We have to push it back, and the way you do that is by you do students names. That's the name of our vector. Names. Whoops. And you do dot, and you get IntelliSense. I don't think you could see it, but you do pushback, and then inside that function you put name. And now all of a sudden, every time I enter a student name right here, it's going to be pushed back into the student's name vector. Now we want to display everything that we have. So we're going to declare another variable. Let's call it I equals 0. And let's do for I equals 0, I is less than 3, and I plus plus. Alright, and we'll do cout and we'll do students names because we want to display everything that's inside that vector. Students names, and we'll do I, since I is holding every name, we'll put it inside that array location, and then we'll do cout end also, it'll display afterwards. And let's compile and check if we have any errors. Okay, we have one error. CN name. Okay. I don't see why the alright, we have a simple syntax error here. The semicolon comes after the quotation mark. Let's compile again and make sure everything's okay. Alright, and everything's good. So let's run it. And as you can see here, I get enter student's name. We'll enter Bob, Chris, and Ryan. And as you can see, whoops. Let's do that again. I lost it. Right. We'll do Bob, Chris, and Ryan. Alright, so as you can see, everything that I entered inside the vector is now displayed at the bottom. Bob, Chris, and Ryan. Now another cool thing you could do with this is, let's say you have thousands of names you have to enter and you want to keep them in order. So what we do is we have to sort them into alphabetical order. Now the way you do that is, first you have to probably include something called an algorithm. And what the algorithm is going to do is that it's going to organize everything that's inside that vector. Okay. So now, every time you push back that name here, you're going to sort it afterwards. So what you do is sort, and it's a function in which you're going to do students, everything from the vector student's name. Let's just copy and paste the name of the vector. And we wanted to sort from the beginning, meaning from alphabetical order A through Z. So we're going to do students names dot begin, comma, students names dot end. And dot begin and end are also function calls with no arguments. Okay. So now that we have that, we're going to build again. Alright, and we have no errors whatsoever. So now we're going to run it. Okay. And now we get the box again, enter student name. Now let's enter something backwards just so you see that the sorting method is working. So let's do Zach, let's do Adam, and Brian. Okay, and now as you can see, we entered Zach, Adam, and Brian all backwards, and now you can see that everything's in alphabetical order: Adam, Brian, and Zach. Alright, and that's pretty much it for the vectors. I'm going to be posting more tutorials on this just to explain it a little better, and thanks for watching.